Macabre Mondays. Hey creeps, thank you so much for tuning into this week's episode. I am very enthusiastic today, trying to make up for the fact that I feel like crap, which is why I'm actually not drinking wine this episode, which makes me feel a little bit sad inside. Get your wine, get your coffee, whatever you have on hand, and get excited about this episode. It's gonna be creepy, it's gonna be awesome, it's gonna be historical. What? Chin chin. Thanks for tuning in. Let's jump in to this creepy mother. So the Casa de Pico, guys. Pretty interesting history on this place. It was commissioned by Governor Don Pio Pico, who was an interesting fella in his own right. He was the last reigning governor of when California was still Mexico, so Alta California. He was mixed with African American, Spanish, and Native American, so he wasn't Mexican. The dude had a gambling problem, and he also had a complex. And so he's kind of like, I'm an awesome bro. I want to build a super cool place. People know that I'm the coolest kid in town. So right in the middle of what they considered the Wild West, which is kind of where Alvera Street is and everything, there was tons of gambling, there was tons of brothels, a lot of different cultures in a very small vicinity, which added to some issues in the area. He built the first ever 3-story and grandest hotel in LA. It was a big deal. I mean, it was even better than the places they had in San Francisco, essentially. And it had about 10 good years. It opened in 1870, and Pio Pico just kind of ran the place, gambled in the place, probably had a lot of hussies in the place, and eventually ended up losing all of his money. The place went into foreclosure in 1880, and he ended up dying at the age of 93 at his daughter's house in poverty. So, yeah, the Casa de Pico, guys. Yeah, there's some deaths that happened. Not in the Pico house, but outside the Pico house. 1871, the Chinese Massacre. Very culturally tense area. What happened was a white guy got in the crossfire right here. He's standing right here. He gets shot. Boom. 2 Chinese rival gangs. He's in the middle. Shot dead. Boom. People get pissed off. You get a bunch of white guys, you got a bunch of Mexican guys saying, I hate the freaking Chinese, I'm gonna kill the Chinese. So they form an angry mob, they take to the streets, and they brutally murder 18 to 23 Chinese dudes and children. Not just old guys, like children. What? Do you ever find yourself wondering what an angry mob actually looks like? Because in my mind, it's like pitchforks, like we're storming Dracula's castle with like hay on fire and a pitchfork. However, I don't think the Chinese Massacre was anything like that. Yeah, so maybe nobody's actually died inside the Pico house, but when you have like 23 guys that were brutally murdered outside the steps, that's pretty freaking gnarly. Hell yes, the Pico house is haunted. Are you kidding me? You can't have that many people killed in front of your space and it not just be chock full of freaking activity. It's so intense that like every ghost hunting group in LA has gone into this place. That freaking show Ghost Adventures went there and they were yelling at the ghosts, "Are you here, Pio Pico? Show yourself." God, that guy is something, isn't he? Most of the activity in the Pico house is in the center courtyard where the balconies are, and then in the underground tunnels. They see a lot of people in there. A lot of people think Pio Pico haunts it. I don't necessarily think that he does. He didn't die there. It was like a good memory for him, but then also a really sore subject, so I'm not 100% sure that he would want to spend eternity there. However, it is named after him, and he sounds like he's a little egotistical, so maybe he did. And there's a lot of noise they hear. People hear a lot of like screaming and man noises, whatever that means. I would love to say that I have gone inside the Pico house and had an experience or felt an energy that I could report to you guys. However, this is a no-budget show, and since it's a closed property, only open for special events, they didn't buy my, "Hi, I have a blog about historical architecture, and I only shoot on my iPhone, and I have no budget, so please let me get in there." They were like, "No, honey, you still gotta pay." So, I've only walked around the place, but even that, I still feel like there's a sense that the whole area is so old. You have the oldest house in LA just down the block from the Pico house. There is an undeniable essence to the area that I can only imagine is just you know, essentially multiplied when you step through the doors of the Pico house. Hopefully one day I will be able to step foot in there and report an actual personal experience, but until then, we're on a real budget. What a fun episode, guys. I hope you learned something. Hope you had a good time. I'm gonna go take a nap now, so thank you again for tuning in. Share with fellow creeps. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, and yeah, keep the creep alive. What?